Hey guys, welcome back. Guess what? You already know it's week 18 and the NFL season is wrapping up. So a week from this weekend, we've got the playoffs. But first we got to get through week 18, got to secure the last playoff spots. And boy, I tell you, I was watching some Rich Eisen and a total playoff scenarios between both conferences, 96 different playoff scenarios between the two. For the remaining seeds, and shifting of, like say number 2 or number 5 here and there, or number 6. 32 for the AFC, 64 for the NFC. That's a lot of scenarios. So I'm not going to go ahead and get into that because that's a lot of scenarios to get into. And we don't have until midnight. So we have football on Saturday and everything accumulating or culminating on Sunday. So backtracking just a little bit, week 17 went 13-3 for a total so far on the season 171 and 86. Not too shabby, not too bad at all. So let's get into the games. So Saturday, 1:30 p.m. kickoff, Pacific time, that is. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Before I mention the pick, my pick here being a even if nobody was resting any starters, division game, whether it be in Pittsburgh or Baltimore, nobody knows you better, as you know, than your division rivals. And even if nobody was resting anybody, then I still think this could come out the way I'm going to pick. And we know Baltimore is going to be resting their starters. And so I'm giving the win to the Pittsburgh, who's gained some steam over the last couple of weeks. Mason, don't call me Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Maybe he would like that, actually. He's been doing pretty well over the last couple of weeks. And the Steelers have been building momentum, which is the right time for it, right? Right ahead of the postseason, and so they're hoping to secure that playoff spot. I think they might need a little bit of help, but they win, and greatly increases their chances, and I believe they will secure a playoff spot. And let's see here. That I had that closer by. Well, the Steelers, I believe, will get into the playoffs. And once they're in, all bets are off. New season. Everybody's 0-0. So I've taken the Steelers over the Ravens. And even if Baltimore wasn't resting their starters, I'd have to pick the Steelers this time as well. So on to the next game, the evening game, Houston at Indianapolis. And if Jacksonville happens to, stumble, I believe that Beathard is starting for Jacksonville, Beathard, and so the Jaguars are saying a prayer and crossing their fingers and hoping they can get a good enough win, or good enough effort to get a win, to win the division. And if that doesn't happen, then Houston and Indianapolis are playing for the division title. Either way, they're playing for a playoff spot. I'm going to take the Colts at home. I know the Texans are favored, especially with C.J. Stroud back. And I'm going to take the Colts anyway. Wouldn't be surprised, of course. This game could go either way. But Indy over Houston. And then from there, on to Sunday, the morning slot games. Again, the aforementioned the Jags at the Titans. And the Jaguars should be able to put forth enough of an effort excuse me, to beat the Titans in Tennessee. But it's wonky week 18. Weird things happen because it's week 18. And the Titans, yeah, they could very well pull this out. It wouldn't be a shocker at all. And I don't think much of anybody would be surprised, especially if you, depending on how close you pay attention to things, because there's some things that some people don't see that slip through the cracks, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to take the Jags over Tennessee, and then from there, Minnesota at Detroit, and we've already been told that the Lions will not be resting their starters. They're going in blazing saddles, and so I'm going to take the Lions over the struggling Vikings. The Lions looking to take out some of their frustration and aggression from last week's debacle in Dallas, and get themselves rolling just that much more going into the playoffs. So Detroit over Minnesota, and from there, the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints, with the potential of that being a game for the division title if Tampa Bay happens to stumble. But so I'm going to take New Orleans over Atlanta, and then, well, of course, the Bucs game. That's up for we'll get to that. So New Orleans over Atlanta, and then the Jets at the Patriots, and possibly Bill Belichick's last game as a Patriot. I would have liked to take in the Jets here, but I just got a feeling that New England is going to just find a way to win. And if it does happen to be Belichick's last game in New England, he's going to at least want to go out on a high note. And so Patriots over Jets. And then on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. And we know that Carolina is struggling upon struggling. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers at home over the Panthers. And the Bucs just need to put that little bit of gel on the top and get their momentum, build up some momentum. And I believe that Baker will be playing, bruised ribs and all, but he'll be playing, and so that helps them out even more. Tampa Bay over Carolina, and then from there, the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals, they're already eliminated from the tournament. Cleveland already in the tournament, and the Browns will be resting their starters. Cincinnati, they'll be playing for pride. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bengals at home in a just playing for pride game. And then from there, it's the afternoon games. Chicago at Green Bay. And Chicago would like to spoil Green Bay's parade. The Packers, very much a win and in scenario. And so both teams are going to put forth their best efforts in order to, one, sabotage the other, or not. Chicago mindset, we're not in the playoffs, and we don't want you in either. And Green Bay, well, they're on the other side of that. So yeah, we do want in. So I'm going to take the Packers. Shout out to Tom Grossi and your Packers. Packers also my brother's team and my son's team. God rest their souls. But that was their team. And so I'm going to take the Packers over Chicago, and seeing the Packers get that much closer to a playoff berth, which I think they'll attain. And then from there, the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington used to be Redskins. Cowboys still playing for the division title, hoping that well, all they have to do is win, and they win the division and secure the number 2 spot. Washington wants to play spoiler, of course. They would love nothing more than to spoil that piece of the party for them. But I'm going to take the Cowboys over Washington, and cross your fingers that the Cowboys don't beat themselves. So Dallas over Washington, and then from there, Denver Broncos at the Vegas Raiders. And two teams with nothing to play for other than to play for, for themselves. And so I'm going to take the Raiders at home over Denver. And then from there, you got the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. Giants looking to upset the Eagles and just pour more mud on their pie. And Philly trying to figure out who they are, trying to gain some momentum of any kind. Hoping that Dallas will stumble against Washington, and then they can still claim that number 2 spot, and we will see what happens. I'm not ready to quite give up on the Eagles just yet. Even though Matt Patricia is their DC, I'm going to still cross my fingers and take the Eagles for a win. You need a snack, Sophie's?
Yes.
Go get a snack. My little one. And then from there,
Talk about me.
the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. Seattle hoping for some things to happen so they can get into the playoffs. Will it happen? We don't know yet. I still think Green Bay is going to take that last spot. Arizona has been playing surprisingly good over the last couple of weeks. Seattle has had some errors and has fallen short. I'm going to take Seattle, though, on the road over Arizona. Seahawks over Cardinals. And then from there, the LA Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. We know the 49ers are resting their starters. So are the Rams. Carson Wentz going to make the start for the Rams. So it's the better of the backups. I'm going to take the Rams on the road against San Francisco to pick up the win and round out the season and go into the playoffs rested with some extra momentum and just getting prepared for the playoffs. So Rams over the 49ers. And then from there, my Kansas City Chiefs at the LA Chargers. Chiefs also going to rest their starters. And so, see what happens there. But I'm going to take my Chiefs over the Chargers. LA would love to just get a win, just because it's Kansas City. But Chiefs over Chargers. And then Sunday night for all the marbles in the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. The biggest game of the week for both teams, playoff bound. So, but it's just going to depend on who sits where. Buffalo, is it going to be Buffalo or Miami in the number 2 seed? Number 2 and number 6 seeds on the line. Chubb and a couple other players are out for this game. Waddle, I believe, is still out. Miami's going in with not fully staffed, but they gotta, they'll take the field anyway. Of course, I'm taking Buffalo. Buffalo's got all the momentum right now, and I believe Buffalo's going to win and take the number 2 seed. So Buffalo Bills over the Miami Dolphins. And so that'll wrap it up for Week 18. And then we'll just get ready for the playoffs and see who travels where, and everybody whoever gets those final remaining spots. And it is going to be a banger of a playoff run, a playoff season. And there's going to be some really good games played. I have no doubt there's going to be an upset here or there. There's going to be teams like the the 49ers and well, the two number one seeds, them and Baltimore, who in their own conferences look pretty much invincible. Yet there are some teams that I see that nobody's really mentioning anything about, that can go into their house and beat them and not be lucky about it, just simply go in and win. As far as the 49ers are concerned, the Rams, they've beaten them in the playoffs before. Yeah, they generally, over recent memory, get owned by the 49ers in the regular season. But in the postseason, and now with the Rams just showing that they are that team that won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and they're on that path again. Will they win the Super Bowl this year? It's possible. It's very possible. Don't sleep on them. That's the team in this playoffs season that teams don't want to see. Watch out for the Rams, because they could be there on February 11th. Absolutely no doubts. And they will surprise somebody who may take them lightly. And as far as Baltimore is concerned, the Steelers know how to play them. If the Steelers get in, there's a team that can beat them. And even more so, the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, I would not be surprised at all. If and when the Browns and Baltimore face off in the playoffs, I'm taking the Browns, because they can and will beat Baltimore. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Cleveland Browns and LA Rams Super Bowl. Those are two teams. I know that many are speaking of the team that you don't want to see in the AFCs being the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, that's true to a point, in my estimation. But they have a tendency from time to time to beat themselves. And so, sleeper teams, my picks there are, and they've been proven picks by how they've been playing over recent weeks and how they heated up in December, when they peaked when they were supposed to, is the Cleveland Browns and the LA Rams. And so now we'll see what happens in the playoffs. So with that, thanks for hanging out with me. Take care. Hope everybody had a really great and safe New Year's. And we'll see you at the playoffs. Bye-bye.